Hi, my name is Jacqueline, and this is my final project for Geography 170. So, for my topic, I decided to pick site selection for San Francisco State University off-campus housing. So, as many of us know, especially students, there is a lack of off-campus housing or university housing, and in many places in California, it's very expensive or even just very difficult to find. San Francisco, especially, there is a lack of housing in general. There's a very competitive housing market, so I thought this would be a great place to choose. So, as an overview, I decided to pick three very important factors and then reclassify them and then create a cost raster. So that determines, which places, in my chosen area have the most cost, as in, are they, the most difficulty, the most sort of like aggressive factors. It would be a high cost in terms of resources and money, most likely, and the lowest cost areas. And we want to know what the lowest cost areas are in order to look for initial site selection. So for my factors, I chose slope of the land, as in the greater the slope, the more difficult it is to build on. So anything above a 10% grade is probably pretty costly. You have to move a lot of land. As to San Francisco, I feel like seismic hazard is very important to take into consideration. And then population density. So very low density could be super costly. High density also very costly. So we're looking for somewhere sort of moderate in there. So I reclassified all of these, which I will show you in a second. And then once I made my reclassified areas and showed, okay, here's the lowest cost areas based on these factors, it'll be easiest to build on. I wanted to make the area accessible to students. So can students bike there within 15 minutes and can they walk there within 20 minutes? So I did some network analysis and I said, okay, so if a student left their house at 9 a.m., probably a traffic time, could they get to campus within 15 minutes? And then I created a simple radius around campus that went for a mile to estimate what would a 20-minute walk look like. So here are my reclassified areas. You can see red is higher cost and green is the low cost areas. We definitely want those low cost areas. And I added all of these together to create my cost analysis for the surrounding San Francisco State area. So you can see green is lower cost, red is higher cost. Some green areas, might be pretty difficult to build on. You can't really build in Golden Gate Park. You can't build around Lake Merced. SF State campus is already in a low cost area, which is kind of cool. So here you can see the low cost areas already pulled out. We have SF State right here, and then the low cost areas surrounding. You can see some of them are really by like big streets, major freeways, which is pretty cool. And here you're kind of getting into the hills, which might be difficult. And now when we're overlaying the consideration of, okay, can you get there within 15 minutes of biking? I chose biking and walking because they're both sustainable, looking towards the future. We're trying to cut down on driving, we're going to cut down on traffic. It's most efficient for students. So you can see that limits the areas to here. And then when you get to the walking distance, it's even more limited. So you're really looking at these two areas. And now, then I selected, okay, where could some proposed building sites be? This based on these initial criteria, I think it'd be important to be sort of on a corner or near a major street. So you can see these are both at major streets. This is as well, and they're all on corners. Now, it's also important to sort of visualize, how these factors came into play when choosing the site selection. So this really gives you a view of like what the terrain looks like. You can see here it's pretty flat, and then when you get over in this area, probably with higher slope, you can see the terrain. It goes, it's a little hilly, a little mountainous, would be difficult to build on, difficult to bike on. Even this site right here is getting a little into the mountainous area, but it's good to consider anyways. And then moving forward, I think that, so this is just initial analysis of initial, cost assessment. I think slope was really one of the biggest factors. And, you're limited anyways because much or all of San Francisco is already built on. But when looking towards the future, you should take actual cost into consideration, zoning restrictions. You might not even be able to build these high-rise buildings, and then open lots, because that could be your best bet if there are open lots. So that was my project. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy.